Joining us are two bright political minds, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Karl Rove and host of the Guy Benson Show on Fox News Radio, Guy Benson. Welcome to you both, gentlemen. Karl, things were going really well. John Lee Ratcliffe, Mike Waltz, Elise Stefanik, Lee Zeldin, Doug Burgum, and then he picks a guy who resigns to keep a scathing ethics report from becoming public. Why?
Well, there are two ways to answer that. One is we don't know why the president chose him. We know why Gaetz wanted to be chosen, and that was he wanted to avoid having this report issued. On Wednesday, he talks the president into naming him as Attorney General. That allows him to immediately resign and stop the publication of the Ethics Committee report on Friday because no longer being a member of the House Ethics Committee has no authority over him. So think about it. I think this is really sort of cynical. He's nominated by 47. He immediately resigns to stop the report. What's going to happen from there? One is he could get confirmed. I think that's highly unlikely. Talk about an unpopular member of the Republican Party and the Congress of the United States. It's him, and it's not because he's disliked so much by Democrats. It's that he's disliked by Republicans. So he's unlikely to get confirmed. All it takes is 4 members of the Republican membership of the Senate to say no to him. And I could count like 10 or 12 already that are expressing doubts or saying they're opposed. So maybe then the president makes a recess appointment in which he gets to serve in the job for 2 years. But again, you're right. The guy has never been a practicing attorney with a steady practice. He's never prosecuted. He's never managed or run a law firm. And he's going to run the largest law firm in the world? I don't think so. So I think what this ultimately is, he's counting on being turned down with the idea that he then runs for governor or senator in 2026, saying, I was a victim of the deep state, and rallies the MAGA base in order to try and get there.
Yeah, well, that's not going to work if that ethics report comes out. Guy, there's a debate waging now between letting advice and consent work or using recess appointments. Both are in the Constitution, although advice and consent is usually preferred by conservatives, no?
Well, sure. I mean, it's the constitutional duty of U.S. senators to advise and consent. And I think a lot of viewers are probably saying, well, hang on just a second. Donald Trump just won this election. He won the popular vote. He did all these things that people said he would never be able to do. Doesn't he have a mandate? Doesn't he have an agenda? Shouldn't Republicans do everything they can to help him? And I think that's a fair point in a lot of ways. And I think it's important to affirm that. At the same time, Donald Trump getting elected does not mean that the 100 members of the Senate were not also elected separately, independently. And they have a job to do here. They have to look at, as has happened for centuries, look at the personnel put forward by the president, who I think absolutely deserves broad deference for the most part, but they have to make some choices. Presidents don't always get every single thing that they want. And if Wall Street Journal and other reporting is to be believed, there are potentially between a dozen and several dozen Republican senators who are either leaning no or would be no on this particular nominee. So a question would arise at that point, if that's true, because whispering to reporters is different than going on the record and voting. But if it's true that there are at least 4 or more Republicans against this, it wouldn't be partisan obstruction. Democrats can't filibuster him. I'm sure they wish they could, right? But they got rid of that tool for the minority during the Obama administration. That's their bed to lie in. But if 4 or more Republican senators, maybe a lot more, decide we're going to draw a line on this one, then the question becomes, does the president want to get into a massive political fight with his own party at the very beginning of his presidency for this one person? That remains to be seen.
All right, Karl, President Bush lost 2 cabinet picks, if I remember correctly, but so did John Adams and James Madison. I mean, almost all presidents don't get at some point what they want. So at what point do you pull the plug to avoid this protracted fight with the Senate when there's so much other work that needs to be done?
Yeah, sooner rather than later, because the longer it goes on, the more it diverts attention from what President Trump is attempting to get done in his early days, the more it saps the energy and attention of the White House, and the more damage it does to the president. I understand Representative Gaetz is telling people whom he's talking to about the confirmation fight that he expects the report to come out and is not worried about it. Well, if that's true, then why doesn't he step forward and say, I hope the House Ethics Commission releases the report, and if it doesn't, I hope it releases all the underlying evidence and all the underlying depositions and other materials that they used in order to arrive at their potential conclusion. If it really is not harmful, if he thinks it's going to help him, then let's have it all put out there, because it will come out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The attorneys representing some of the women involved have already said that they supplied the underlying evidence and their clients are willing to step forward. This could be very harmful. There'd be one thing if this guy had a reputation as, one, an extraordinarily gifted legislator, two, a tremendously gifted trial attorney, a proven prosecutor, somebody who had managed a big law firm and had demonstrated legal ability. But no, he has none of those attributes. In fact, he has a reputation on the floor of the House for having shown pictures of his conquest to his fellow members. So if that's the best you can do, you're not going to get confirmed.
All right, Guy, before I let you go, history says the GOP has 2 years. They may defy it, but history isn't kind to the party in power. The 2026 Senate map is daunting. Is there a chance these confirmation fights slow down the legislative agenda for which Trump really does have a mandate?
It's possible. It depends on who the nominees are.
And what committees they're going through. Judiciary is going to have a lot to do with immigration, for example, and they're also the people who are going to have to hold the hearings on Gaetz.
We shall see. GOP has full control. History is not always kind to that party with full control. Time is of the essence. Thank you both very much for joining us. Look forward to having you back as all these processes unfold.
Thanks, Trey.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.